the next segment of our program, which is for the Lifetime Achievement Awards. I started my career in sexual and reproductive rights and health when I was 25 years old, and here I am 40 years later almost. It is such a great career. It's not a career, it's a life's work that will give you so much satisfaction. It's amazing. So for those of you who have yet to get to our age, I hope you're inspired by our next speaker, Oying Ramon, our leader at the Bill and Melinda Gates Institute for Population and Reproductive Health, who will present the Lifetime Achievement Awards.
Hello, everybody. I hope you enjoyed all the performances and maybe more to come. The Lifetime Achievement Award in Family Planning and Reproductive Health recognizes individuals who, through their sustained dedication to family planning and reproductive health, have made a deep and enduring impact on the field. This award acknowledges the significant commitments and accomplishments of the honorees have made to family planning throughout their careers. Lifetime Achievement Award honorees are distinctive in that they have provided exemplary leadership through a significant portion of their professional lives and became known as role models as a result of their exceptional accomplishments in increasing access to family planning and reproductive health. Moreover, honorees have inspired others to take action on these pressing issues and created lasting positive change for women, families, communities, and countries around the world, symbolizing the lifelong returns to investment that family planning provides at many levels in many sectors of our society. Let me call on, not in order of importance, they're all important. First here on the list is Fatimata C. Fatimata, please stay. Stay for now. Yeah. Fatimata is the former director of the coordination unit of the Ouagadougou Partnership, a collaboration between 9 Francophone West African governments, private, multilateral donors, and countless civil society organizations. Fatimata is a trained biologist, nutritionist, public health specialist, and has over 25 years of experience in international development, public health design, managing and evaluating programs in Africa, and building consensus among diverse stakeholders. Prior to this role, Fatimata served at the Global Fund liaison for the Office of the U.S. Global AIDS Coordinator in USAID West Africa, the director of FHI 360's West Africa Regional HIV/AIDS Program, country director of FHI 360 in Senegal, among many others. Most notably, Fatimata served as director of the Ouagadougou Partnership. Her deep expertise has brought together governments, donors, civil society organizations towards a common vision. This Senegal-based leader's early success came from members starting to view family planning beyond just the health initiative and also as an input to economic growth. May I request the following distinguished leaders to please come to the stage to help confer the Lifetime Achievement Award. May I call on Dean Ellen McKenzie of the Bloomberg School of Public Health. May I call on Dr. Cynthia Minkovitz, Department Chair, Population, Family, and Reproductive Health. May I call on Dr. Camthorne of the Royal Thai College of Obstetrics and Gynecology. I'm not sure if Dr. Bonjarit of the Department of Health is here today, I would also like to call him. Okay. Fatimata, please come up to the stage to receive your Lifetime Achievement Award. You can have your 2-minute response, please.
Wow. Oying, thank you for this introduction. Dear colleagues, dear friends, thank you for this touching award. I'm honored. Throughout my career, I work to be a voice for women and girls who are victims of injustice. And it is to them that I dedicate this distinction. Women who suffer from early marriage and unwanted pregnancy, who endure cultural, marital, and economic violence, who lack access to education and bear impact of political, climatic, and health crises. They are my inspiration. Thanks to you, I know these women are not alone. They are not abandoned. We in this room and in this community are not satisfied with what we have achieved, but instead are inspired by how together we will improve the lives of women and girls. We will not give up. I dedicate this award to communities fighting for women, and especially the many members of the Ouagadougou Partnership in my family. I also share this award with my family, and allow me to think and to thank someone very special to me, who traveled so far just to be sitting beside to celebrate this moment, my husband. So Yusuf, thank for your continued support and your friendship. Many thanks to ICFP community and organizers of this high consideration. On est ensemble. Vive le partenariat. Vive ICFP. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Fatimata. Yeah, no, stay here. Yeah, for the photo later on. Okay. Our next awardee is Mr. Ben De Leon, former president, the Forum for Family Planning and Development, in the Republic of the Philippines. Early in his career, he was head executive assistant to the Minister of Social Services and Development, the first government agency involved in the pioneering work on family planning in the Philippines in the early 1960s. He then joined the Commission on Population in the Office of the President and rose to become the executive director. And when he left that institution, he became the head of the ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations Population Unit, based in Jakarta. Then Ben moved on to even more important post by becoming a minister in the office of President. This was President Ramos at the time, dealing with poverty issues, population, reproductive health, and later on became the Chief Appointment Secretary and Foreign Affairs Advisor to the President. Ben has served as chairperson, resource speaker, and member of various international steering committees dealing with reproductive health issues. He has received several awards, notably the Presidential Merit Award and recognition for his distinguished exemplary service to the Republic of the Philippines. The forum played a major role in passing and implementing the landmark Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Bill in the Philippines in 2012 after languishing in Congress for 14 years. This law is a groundbreaking law that guarantees universal and free access to nearly all modern contraceptives for all citizens, including impoverished communities and government health centers, through government health centers. When this law was passed, the opposition of the powerful Catholic Church, they were able to get a restraining order from the Supreme Court to restrain the implementation of the law, and none of the modern contraceptives could be dispensed because of this intervention of the Supreme Court. The forum, and Ben in particular, launched what I think was a brilliant campaign, educating influencers of the court, as well as advocating at the federal, at the Food and Drug Authority, resulting in an unprecedented approval of all modern contraceptives. Ben, please come to the stage and receive your award. Ben, your 2-minute response, please. Ben, here.
In Filipino, I say maraming salamat. Thank you very, very much. In receiving this award, I owe it to our partner agencies who are present today at the back of this, the back of the seats. They are the ones who partnered with us and gave us a solid team, which in effect contributed to the passage of the Reproductive Health Bill. Oying Rimon described me as one who really navigated the passage of the RH law in my own humble way. by being, by what we call through the side, not in front. And that is befriending those who have to decide whether the RH law is unconstitutional or not. And here I was making friends, articulating the advantage of the RH law without taking sides and getting technical experts to validate my contention, my advocacy. And these side events, so to speak, work. And I would like to credit 3 of my forum trustees, advisors, and eminent persons. The credit. One of them, the principal author of the RH law, is no less than a congressman from Bicol, Congressman Edsel Lagman, who authored this bill but went into a process that respected the views of the civil society. And once the issues were ironed out, all the members of the civil society supported Congressman Lagman in the halls of Congress. Secondly, 2 of our trustees were former ministers. One, a former minister of health, who explained the RH law to his president, or our president, the departed Benigno Aquino III. And then we have a socio-economic planning secretary, Secretary Pernia, who went to the president to say that we are in danger, if this is in danger, because 2 of the contraceptives might not be certified as what we call, they say that IUD and injectables. And there was a call made, and luckily and fortunately, there was this, the Supreme Court declared the RH law as not as constitutional. And that in itself is a victory for us. So there you are. You know, I can tell you the lessons learned from this, but I just wanted to say this, that when we place people at the center of development, when we focus, when we respect the people, then we are not in no danger of placing our people to be empowered the right to choose a method of family planning. But anyway, since I was given 2 minutes only, I would defer to Oyeng Rimon. But again, I would like to deeply appreciate the award that was given to me. And it's not my honor, but it's in honor of my partnership with all the RH advocates. Thank you very much, and I accept it with humility.
Congratulations, Ben. Our next awardee is Dr. Kunying Kobchet Limpa Fayum, a professor of obstetrics and gynecology at Chulalongkorn University in Bangkok. An OBGYN whose academic focus and professional commitment has centered on issues in reproductive health. She is currently a professor of OBGYN At Chulalongkorn, also awarded Professor Emeritus of her faculty. She was honored to receive the title of Kunying from the King of Thailand. Apart from the medical teaching, her work has also covered training for paramedic personnel. Professor Limfamayum, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, has been the director of Japaigo's cervical cancer program in Thailand since year 2000. At the country level, she's the pioneer in setting up the national standard in curriculum of OBGYN for medical students and residents. She's among the first group who initiated the idea of using provincial hospitals as clinical training centers. Professor Konying Kopchit was for 2 terms the president of the Southeast Asia Regional Association of Medical Education. And in this role, she is a member of the Executive Council of the World Federation of Medical Education. At present, she is an advisor to the Institute of Medical Accreditation in Thailand. Professor Kopchit, please come forward to receive your award. Professor Kopchit, please give us your 2-minute remarks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank the International Conference in Family Planning 2022 for awarding me the Lifetime Achievement in Family Planning and Reproductive Health. It is my great honor to accept this wonderful recognition, and I am very happy to be among all of you here this evening. You know, over 50 years ago, I started working in my country after training. My country's population growth rate was over 6, and now it's about 1.5, which is we need a good quality population, good young generation. When I began at that time, the national economic tried to reduce the population from family over 6.1 down to about 1 to 5 or 1 to 2 babies per family. And they use the oral contraception, they use the injectable, and they use the IUD. But the curriculum for their IUD at that time from Ministry of Public Health was 12 weeks. And that come to a trouble that no nurse provider like to come and be trained for 12 weeks. So we'll have to do something. So with the help from USAID and JPIGO or Johns Hopkins Program for International Education in Gynecology and Obstetrics, at that time, that name for JPIGO, we set up the curriculum called model-based training, and that is the nurse provider are able to do the insertion IUD in in 2 weeks after they have done the curriculum, they have done the training in model for 6 times. So this is the basic for training that we have started at that time. And now we have the, about 1980, we reviewed the curriculum, we reviewed the disease of what we call the cervical cancer. What is the most important death of the women at the age of the middle-aged women? After 40, 50, more or less after 50, we found that cervical cancer is one of the major disease, and that kill the woman at that age. And that's very important because the the growing country cannot have middle age, less middle age. We need someone to help the family, and the young people is not that good to carry on by themselves. They need someone to help them, and we don't have, we are going to be a very old age population. So something that we have to do with cervical cancer. This is why, with the help from USAID again and Bill Melinda Gates Foundation at that time, we can be able to reduce the cervical cancer. The year 2008, at that time when we start, the death rate from cervical cancer was 23 per 100,000. But now last year, it was 11 to 100,000, which I think this is very important for the population because this disease is preventable if it can be done in a very timely manner. So and it has been quite a journey to work, and my work has been accepted all over the world, and for the women in need. My goal is to introduce low-cost, evidence-based health and highlight the beautiful spirit of humanity and continue to inspire my work. And I am so pleased that in my lifetime, I can see that the work that I have been done, the young one try to empower younger generation of women to follow. And we can help the underserved population, and no one is to left behind. Therefore, with the utmost gratitude that I accept this Lifetime Achievement Award, not only for myself, not only for my country, but also the countless others that have contributed to the success of saving lives of women at risk and for the Thailand and for abroad. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Dr. Kobsit. Our next awardee is Sheikh Saidel Mokhtar Mbaki, Research Fellow, the Center for Research and Applied Economics and Finance at the University of Thiès in Senegal. As a senior fellow, he helps mobilize resources to strengthen and sustain the consortium and provides mentoring to staff and students at this very young organization. He helped develop the Pan-African Research and Training Assistance, Agenda on Generational Economics, aimed at helping West and Central African countries to domesticate the African Union's demographic dividend roadmap. Dr. Mbaki is a recognized advisor in population and health research and training in Sub-Saharan Africa. His advisory work serves various organizations across the world. It is in his capacity as a senior advisor to the William and Flora Hewlett Foundation that he helped set up in 2011 the Ouagadougou Partnership, the leading organization on coordination of family planning in Francophone West Africa. Previously, Dr. Mbaki spent 6 years at the Sahel Institute in Bamako, Mali, and 14 years at the Rockefeller Foundation, where he headed the foundation's program for Africa and served as Vice President for Administration and Regional Programs. Dr. Mbaki cannot join us tonight, but he has deputized his colleague, Professor Latif Dramani, to accept the award in his behalf. Professor Latif Dramani, please come forward. Okay. Latif, your 2-minute remarks, please, on behalf of Sheikh.
Dear distinguished delegates, it's an honor and a great pleasure to accept this award on behalf of Dr. Sheikh Mbake, who unfortunately could not make it to Pattaya. Dr. Mbake regrets very much not being able to be here with you all. He is very honored and humbled to receive this Lifetime Achievements Award in Family Planning and Reproductive Health. He expressed his gratitude to all those who have contributed to making this happen. He dedicates the award to all the pioneers who recognized very early that investing in family planning and reproductive health is to invest in sustainable development and have worked tirelessly to make family planning a priority in Francophone Africa in the last 3 decades. Thank you very much for this award for ICFP people and OIM. Thank you very much.
For those of you who don't know Professor Latif Dramani, he's the author of a 2-volume book on demographic dividend in Africa, the first of its kind. Congratulations, Latif. Finally, we have Phil Harvey, founder of PSI, founder of DKT, and co-founder of Marie Stopes International. Can you believe that? Founder of PSI, founder of DKT, co-founder of MSI. Promoted family planning through social marketing as co-founder of PSI and DKT, championed personal freedom and civil liberties, fought and won a landmark court case in the US, Casey versus PSI, that expanded contraceptive access in the state of New York. And of course, again, a co-founder of MSI with his friend Tim Black. He's one of the greatest contributors to freedom of speech, not only for sexual expression, but also for any controversial, unpopular speech. This is a quote from Nadine Strossen, former president of the American Civil Liberties Union. From the current president of PSI, said Phil was a remarkable figure and a lifelong supporter of the right and ability of women to control their own fertility. This is from Carl Hoffman. There was never any doubt that where Phil stood. He championed personal freedom and civil liberties. He was a pace-setter, a rule breaker, a visionary, forever changing the landscape of global health and social justice. The Lifetime Achievement Award is normally conferred to still an alive individual, but Phil Harvey was already chosen. Unfortunately, he passed away. So I would like to call on Chris Purdy, the CEO of DKT, to accept the reward in his behalf.
Thanks, Oying. And thanks everyone for being here tonight. I'm honored to accept this award on behalf of Phil and his family. He obviously very much wanted to be here, but circumstances dictated otherwise. The organizations that Phil founded, as well as those that he supported through his philanthropy over the years, have changed the way that women and men have used contraception over the last 50 years. Through those organizations, the principles and strategies of social marketing, direct-to-consumer advertising and education, and leveraging of the private sector have been really well established. And hundreds of millions, and maybe even billions of couples have been able to access contraception, and they've determined their reproductive destinies because of the initiatives that were started by Phil. I've given a lot of thought to what Phil might say if he were here. And for those of you who know him, you know it might be a little sparkly. So I'm going to try and channel my inner Phil to tell you what I think might be 3 pieces of advice that he would give us. The first is, everything that we do should have the customer in mind. Those people who want and need contraceptives and health and reproductive health services, what do they want? To do that, we need to be willing to take risks. We need to reduce bureaucracy, and we need to sensualize contraception. Number 2, I think he would say, stay focused. It's really tempting to search for the next shiny idea, but the simple basics around family planning have been powerfully successful and still hold true. We need to give people information and access to contraception and safe abortion and get out of the way. And 3, let's inject more passion and urgency into our work. We should consider ourselves warriors in a battle that has implications for individual choice, but also societal and planetary well-being. Giving people the ability to control their own fertility is one of the most empowering and significant rights available. And I think Phil would say, don't be afraid to get angry and fight for that. Thank you very much to ICFP on behalf of Phil.
May we request the awardees to bring their awards, and please for the big photo opportunity. Please join.
Thank you, Dr. Camthorne, Dean McKenzie, and Dr. Minkovitz, and Oying Ramon for this part of the program, and to all our awardees. Chris Purdy, my friend. Chris, you're up.
I think it's off.
So when we were preparing, when ICFP was preparing for this year, John Hopkins and Oying came and said, we want to do something that talks about, that honors the spirit of Phil Harvey, and to try to think about the next generation of social entrepreneurs, of people who are thinking creatively and intuitively and with innovation about how to change and impact on the world of reproductive health. And to do that, John Hopkins decided to come up with what they were honoring Phil with the Phil Harvey Innovation Awards. And so I'd like to invite Oying to join me up here as we go through the process of telling you who the finalists were. I'm not sure exactly how many applicants we had, but I know that it was a very rigorous process. And I want to thank John Hopkins as well as the many judges who were involved in screening and coming up with the finalists.
130 applicants.
There were 130 applicants. So, and I think it was probably quite a lot of work to choose the final three, because I think there were many very high qualified applicants. But I'd like to introduce you to each of them. I'm going to start one at a time and then give them a couple of minutes to tell you what their big idea is. The first is Innocent Grant Msonyange. So Innocent is a program director, come on up Innocent, is a program director at Young and Alive Initiative in Tanzania. It's a local and youth-led organization working to promote sexual reproductive health for young people. He's a gender specialist with a background in clinical medicine and a self-motivated youth leader who's passionate, we like passionate, about educating adolescents and young people about sexual reproductive health and rights.
Center, please.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to become one of the winners for the Phil Harvey Sexual and Reproductive Health and Rights Innovation Award. And I just want to tell you what I proposed for this award. So young people in Tanzania need better information on sexual and reproductive health and contraception. And 67% of unmarried sexually active women aged 15 to 19 are using a modern method of contraception, but only 10% had a recent contact with a healthcare provider and had an opportunity to discuss about contraception with them. I want to give you a little background of where I came from, which is from Young and Alive Initiative and from the Courtesy Sexual Health Club. The Courtesy Sexual Health Club is a clinical medicine student sexual health club based in southern coast of Tanzania that works to provide sexual and reproductive health education in schools in southern coast of Tanzania called Mtwara. They meet 2,000 young people each year and spark dialogues around sexual and reproductive health and rights. While Young and Alive Initiative is a youth-led organization based in Tanzania, founded by the graduates of the Courtesy Sexual Health Club as part of keeping up the work that we are doing in Mtwara. Now, coming to the second part, as we all know that good information on contraception is available online. Yeah? However, 78% of the Tanzanian household have a mobile phone number, and this is according to the Tanzania Data Health Survey of 2015 and 2017. From this information, we know that effective use of this resource of online resources depends on an ability of a person to access private internet, but an ability to find suitable websites and skills to assess the quality of the information that is being provided online. And generic information that has been put online and has been intended for wider audience may not be able to respond to specific needs of young people in Tanzania. There are specific preferences, there are specific questions regarding contraception and sexual and reproductive health and rights. And this is why we came up with these two interventions. pleasure and contraceptive conversations. I'll start by telling you a little bit about contraceptive conversations. This complements the classroom-based sex education which is being provided by the Clinical Medicine Student Sexual Health Club in Tanzania. They meet students in schools, they give them sexual and reproductive health education, and then they provide them with an anonymous text line to ask specific sexual and reproductive health questions. We anonymize the questions, we give the response to those questions, and post both anonymized question and answers to a Facebook page called Contraceptive Conversations. But the contraceptive conversations online digital forum was quite 50-50, quite dry. It wasn't fun. That's why we decided to test and bring in pleasure-based education, pleasure-based discussions. We tested pleasure-based discussions in Tanzania, and that's when we came to learn that pleasure-based sex education gave us an opportunity to bring and spark discussions on contraception, HIV and STIs, and sexuality, without losing the fact that sex is healthy and pleasurable. In Swahili, in the country I'm coming from, we speak Swahili, pleasure means raha. And from the raha-sparked discussions, we gained more than 10,000 followers in a Facebook page without any promotion. And as you could see, young people are smiling from these kinds of dialogues. Now, big lessons that we came to learn is traditional sex education plus a sex-positive online resource is a feasible strategy for increasing access to contraceptive information and services in Tanzania. With the Phil Harvey Innovation Award, we are going to do more roundtable pressure discussions. We are going to develop funny materials such as memes, Instagram reels, and comics. We are going to engage with healthcare facilities and private and public health institutions so as they can learn from these dialogues that are being done by young people in Tanzania. And we intend to reach about 30,000 young people, both online and offline. I think this is the best way that you're going to innovate, collaborate, and accelerate family planning so as to achieve the universal health coverage. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Innocent. Next, I'd like to introduce and call up Laura Ramos Tomas. She is a sexuality educator based in Brazil. In 2020, Laura launched Tabu Tabu. It's an organization with a mission to normalize healthy dialogue about sex and sexuality for people of all walks of life. Together with communities in Brazil and Honduras, Tabu Tabu has co-created sexuality education programs that are sex and pleasure positive. So, congratulations.
Yes, we are live. So, good evening, everyone. And I am going to continue the pleasure conversation. However, I am not here alone tonight. I introduce you to Ana Autoestima, my friend. So Ana Autoestima is a virtual character, and she talks to women living in favela communities, which are shantytown communities in Brazil. She currently works in Rio, and she has been trialed and tested and actually developed with a focus group of women in the northern periphery of Rio. So what she does is she breaks the narrative that these women are used to. These women have been marginalized over generations, both racially, geographically, financially, and when they do decide or they do attempt to access sexual health services, they are met often with a lot of judgment, and they are left feeling confused, and they're left feeling pretty disoriented and judged. And so Ana tries to change that narrative. She brings pleasure positivity, she listens, and she meets her friends where they're at. So she's not an app, she's a contact that her friends can add on WhatsApp, which is where they're already hanging out with their own friends and sharing resources. So what Ana does with her friends is she takes them on a pleasure path. And what she shares are resources that talk about their bodies, and talk about how pleasure works, talk about how to communicate about pleasure with partners, how to teach pleasure with maybe their kids, and really how to de-taboo the whole concept. And so whilst her friends are learning how their bodies work, and while they're learning and maybe implementing pleasure practices in their day-to-day, they're turning this pleasure practice into into a moment of exercising their rights. Pleasure is a human right, or at least the right to pleasure should be universal. Yes. And so what we found, and what the first trial participants reported, is that when they practice this right, they actually transform their lives in other ways. They change their self-perception, and they end up being able to address other issues in their life. They end up feeling like there is self-esteem where there was once not. And so Anna, just to take you a little bit into the development process, Anna was developed with a group, like I said, and they started from the very beginning to ideate what their perfect character might look like. So this character was developed by them to embody everything that reminds them of what makes them beautiful, what makes them strong, and what makes them what makes people want to love them, and what makes them want to love themselves. So through that self-actualization process, or the self-actualization process is based on this pleasure approach. So how do we do that? How do we take pleasure to women in communities? Like I said, she works on WhatsApp, and what we're going to be able to do now with this funding, and thank you again, DKT, we are going to be able to take this approach and this project to more favela communities. So we're going to expand to 4 different communities. They're going to be very different in terms of the settings that they're living in. There's still going to be women living in certain contexts of poverty. Some might be facing more violence, some might be facing less access to jobs because of further geographical marginalization. But essentially what we're going to be doing is testing to see how scalable this is. So the project that we have is inclusive. We're targeting people that are not fully alphabetized, and we're doing so through WhatsApp, which in Brazil is a tool that does not consume absolutely any data. So we found a way, by sharing things in a specific way on WhatsApp, that they can access videos and YouTube content that Anna produces for them at 0 cost. So it takes them absolutely nothing to learn from Anna. So really, just to let you in on a secret, Anna's going to be doing this with a few communities in Rio. But in the long term, Anna wants to make friends across the whole entire country of Brazil, which is a huge country. We've got a long way to go. But her goal really is to make this rights-based approach and to make pleasure something that people across the whole country can profit from. And so that she has friends across all of Rio that are on this pleasure path with her. Muito obrigada. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura. Finally, I'd like to congratulate and invite Tushar Singh Bodwal to come to the stage. He is a senior associate at Good Business Labs in India. It's a non-for-profit labor organization that scales programs for the well-being of workers in labor-intensive industries. And he is currently leading the formulation of a comprehensive SRHR training and awareness program in the gig economy space of India. So.
Very good evening to one and all. Thank you so much for the warm welcome amidst all the singing and dancing. I'm genuinely humbled and elated to receive this award. Thanks to the jury for selecting me as one of the winners of the prestigious Phil Harvey SRHR Innovation Award. This award will go a long way in motivating young aspirational leaders to bring their innovative ideas to life. In India, talking openly about sexual, reproductive health, and rights-related issues is a taboo even today. Despite the growing awareness around SRHR, many myths and misconceptions are still widespread. Moreover, uterus owners have lesser participation in family planning decisions. We've identified the gig economy as a space where a lot of migrant workers from villages and tier 2 and 3 cities come to find jobs. This sector circumvents conventional labor laws in many cases. To tackle this, we aim to design, test, and scale up programs for the holistic well-being of workers in labor-intensive sectors. The rationale for choosing this project is that the Niti Aayog, Government of India, highlighted in its report that 7.7 million workers were engaged in the gig economy in 2020-21. It is expected to expand to 23.5 million workers in less than a decade from now. But the important question to ask here is that, are we growing inclusively, equitably, and sustainably? Another report by Satwa Consulting elucidates the importance of training on gender sensitization, sexual and reproductive health management, and prevention of sexual harassment. It is required to ease the process of assimilation of women gig workers and improve their retention. Given the findings from our exploratory study, we propose a comprehensive intervention which involves the implementation and evaluation of a unique SRHR training and awareness program in collaboration with 2 gig platform owners. The SRHR training module will be a low-cost and extensively scalable solution. We intend to cover the themes of understanding sex, gender, and society, anatomy, and maternal and neonatal health, accessing contraception and safe abortion facilities, working women, their rights, and reporting sexual harassment, laws, rights, and help for women in cases of domestic issues. The project aims to train women by disbursing IAC material through the mobile application they are routinely using for gig work. While being onboarded on the gig platforms, women workers will attend 2 15-minute sessions on POSH, laws, rights, and help for women in cases of domestic issues in their vernacular language. They can access these sessions anytime by using the Sakhi navigation button, which means a female friend in Hindi. There will be informational pop-ups in the application about nearby one-stop centers run by the government, intended to support women affected by violence in private and public spaces, within the family community, and at the workplace. And lastly, there will be informational pop-ups on sexuality, menstrual hygiene awareness, and safe abortion accessibility. We'll be taking this research to practice by leveraging other gig platforms to advance SRHR. The proposed project tests a low-cost SRHR training curriculum for female gig workers in South Asia. If successful, then we will take this initiative to other gig platform owners in our network and key policy makers within the government. This intervention will provide increased opportunity to women workers due to the flexibility to schedule their work hours and offer work in geographies of choice. This intervention would help the gig economy to grow more inclusively, equitably, and sustainably. Thank you.